How's it going, guys? Andy here again, back in the potting shed, just doing a few jobs here today. So I thought I'd bring you along and share with you what I'm doing. I've got some Fittonia cuttings that I took from my terrarium, just had a bit of a neaten up and a trim up the other day, and I thought I would keep the cuttings and turn them into new plants, because why not? They're only going to go in the bin. So I'll share with you what I'm doing with that, and also I was given a new houseplant yesterday. A friend of my wife is moving house and she had some big plants that won't fit in her house anymore. So she gave me a few. I'll show you the other one in another video. But this one, I think, is a type of variegated yucca. It's in a bit of bad nick. It actually turned up. It was given to me in a bag. It wasn't even in a pot. It was given me in a very dry bag of tired compost, to be fair. She wanted to keep, the pot was quite nice and she wanted to keep it, so I received this. The leaves are very curled. I think it's pretty dry. Apparently the cat was nibbling on the leaves as well, so it's not ideal. The leaves are very dusty as well, but all in all, it's not too bad. Bit of a clean up. I'll clean up the leaves. I've just put it into some soil that I've got here. Plenty of water, plenty of humidity for a little while. I'm sure it will come good. It's quite a nice plant. I'm sure I can find a home for it somewhere. And yeah, so that's the first thing I was doing, just putting it in a pot. I've just used this plastic pot for now, just to get it back to health, get some more roots going, get it more healthier. And then when I've found a place for it and found like a suitable pot, then I'll repot it and find a more permanent home for it. But yeah, I quite like it, I suppose. It's been chopped off here quite low down, so it's never going to be a massive plant. It's the side shoots that are coming out and gaining height now, so it's not going to tear away and be one of those really tall ones, which suits me because sometimes they can get quite big and difficult to find a place to keep them. So yep, that was the first job that I wanted to do, to just get this in the pot. So yeah, I'm still a bit unsure as to what to do with it for now, but yeah, it's quite nice and it's not too bad health. Apparently she's had it for a number of years, so if it survived this long, I'm sure it'll carry on thriving with a little bit more water in the future and humidity. So that's my yucca, and so let's get on to the Fittonias. So rather than just throwing away the cuttings from pruning the Fittonia, I always like to try and create more plants, because it's free plants, so why not? Even if I don't have a use for them, it's nice to give away to friends and family for gifts. So what I've done here, the smaller ones I've put in to little pots here as little root cuttings in soil, if you can see that, and they've just gone straight into some soil. And all you need to do really is keep them out of the way, keep them moist. Sometimes if you want, you can just put a little clear plastic bag over the top, and that will seal in the humidity and give them a good chance of rooting, because when they're small like this and there isn't a developed root structure, they can dry out very quickly. But I'm keeping them here in the potting shed, which is very humid because there's lots of other plants around, and I'm keeping an eye on them and keeping them misted and watered regularly. And so far they're looking pretty happy, to be honest with you. So these ones I imagine will take very quickly. You need to give them a little while before they put down roots. Some plants go quicker than others, but when you see new growth on them and there's new leaves forming, then you can be sure that it then has roots growing freely. So then give it a little while longer and you can take them out and individually pot them on. The other thing I did, this little, I don't know what even you would call this, I suppose you could call it a little vase. I actually dug this up in the garden. I was doing some gardening a good few years ago and I found it buried in the garden, which is pretty cool. and I just used it as a bud vase. I filled it up full of water, and these stems here, the longer leggy stems that I needed to cut back, which were growing out of the terrarium, I cut them and just literally put them in some water. Again, keep them out of direct sunlight, but a well lit room, and it's not been long at all. I don't know if you can see this. Lots and lots and lots of lovely roots. Let me see if I can get you to focus on the roots here. There we go. Look at all those boys. Yes, plenty of roots. So these now can be individually potted on into their own pots, which I'm going to do now. So I'm going to be careful teasing them out so I don't break any, but there's absolutely covered in roots, which is great. Really quick and easy way to get cuttings to root. Just pop them in water and off they go. There we go, you can see there's tons of roots on every single one of them. So I've got some pots here. I'm running dangerously low on potting compost. I still haven't been able to get to my local garden centre. Trying to keep out of those places at the moment because of you know what. And yeah, I'm just trying to ration what I've got until I get a chance to go down there. So I've got some soil in a few pots here. So what I'm going to do is just let them share these pots for now. And as they get bigger and more established, I'll put them on into their own pots. But what I might do is group them by colour and make them into one big bushy looking plant, just because I think it would be fun, and that way they can all go in one pot. So just really carefully putting them in here, trying not to disturb the roots at all as you put them in. These are quite tall, so I'm going to fill the pot up as much as possible to give them support, because this isn't the deepest of pots I've got here. What have I got? Just use these scissors to burrow a hole. Just using some scissors to burrow a hole here. Let me come further back so you can see it. That would be a good idea, wouldn't it? Just burrowing a hole carefully. Push that in. Gently firming, because I don't want to give them too much grief at this delicate stage. Again, do the same again. I love Fittonia. I think they're such graceful looking plants, beautiful leaf variations and colorations. I think they're so nice. Now this is not really the one. They're very tall for this pot. I might have to prop them up a bit until they get the roots in the ground, because they're all a little bit leggy. It's sub-ideal. What I should have done really is made shorter cuttings, and then they would have rooted further down, but we are where we are. So let's use, what did I do with that stake? Let's use, just going to use a stake here just to stick in the side and give them a bit of support until they root into the compound. They're all one colour, so I'm just going to put this one in a separate pot just to keep the colours separate. Or will I use that as well? I might put that in the middle just to add a bit of interest. Just gently easing it in there. There we go. Fill it up with as much soil as I can just to support it. And when they're crowded together a bit like this, they're going to support each other as well, which is useful to begin with. Right, there we go. So I'm now going to give this a thorough watering and a spraying as well, because they're coming out of water. As you can focus? Might do. Anyway, they're all facing upright, and once they've had a few weeks of getting their roots into this pot, they will be just fine. Have I got any water? I do not have any water with me at the moment, but I'll give this a quick water and a spray down. Make sure it's super moist. It's pretty hot in the potting shed today, so I don't want it to wilt. Keep it in the shade and keep it out of direct sunlight, and that will be fine. And so I'll probably use this for a bigger, bushier plant, and then maybe these little guys I might use for some more terrarium builds as well, just for fun and games. But that's all I'm doing for now with these Fittonia. If you've got some Fittonia that you'd like to create cuttings from, they are super simple. I'd encourage you to give them a go. All you need to do is cut the stem off just above a leaf node where a leaf is forming. You can pop it into some water like I have done in a bud vase, or just straight into some, ideally into some seed compost if you've got seed compost, or any compost will do at a pinch, but the seed compost is just really fine and helps it put the roots down. It doesn't need any nutrients as well, these little cuttings, while they're still developing roots. So you can even use perlite, for example, to root cuttings in. So just thought I would share with you what I'm doing here with these Fittonia. I would definitely recommend, you know, don't waste if you're cutting your Fittonia back, because they are quite voracious growers. If you're cutting them back, make use of those cuttings, because if they just go in the bin, I think it's a bit of a waste when you could have another 10 Fittonia plants just from doing a little bit of simple pruning. So that's it for this video, just a quick one to share with you what I'm doing, and I'll see you very soon for another video. Thanks for watching.